Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to another Gemstone Legends video, and in this video I want to show what I've done with equipment on the Finbor that I use and use that as a demonstration for I think what is a valuable lesson in equipping your own heroes. So I've done a few of these Gemstone Legend equipment videos, and I keep coming back to it because it's one of the things that I think about the most, and therefore I think one of the biggest opportunities for improvement of our own rosters and of our own understanding of what is probably the most important mechanic in the game, which is the equipment system. So first we're going to take a look at where I had Finbor to begin with, and then we're going to look at where he ended up and what I think the lessons are there. So a quick announcement that on December 6th, there's going to be another contest for existing users in Gemstone Legends. And this is going to be similar to the Nadiru's challenge that we saw before, except in this case, it's going to be the Christmas hero, Amelia. There's going to be some backstory to that. But basically, you're going to be using Amelia to fight Klaus. And the differences this time will be that, unlike the last challenge where only damage from Nadiru counted, this time it's going to be damage from the whole team. So you get to use your entire roster in the smartest way you can, and you just have to make sure you have Amelia on the team. You'll be able to obtain her from the event. So it'll be similar, but with, I think, some improvements being made. So keep your eyes out for that. That will be on December 6th, coming to the game. And yeah, just make sure you get an early start on that. If I can think of any good advice, I'll do a tips video of what I think are some considerations for doing well in that event. So make sure to subscribe and hit the like button on this video. And let's get back to talking about Finbor. Before we get to this video, if you haven't checked out Gemstone Legends yet, come check it out. There are, no joke, thousands of players from Empires and Puzzles that have come over already, and for good reason. Simply put, it's a really fun game with some big advantages over Empires and Puzzles. We both know that the players that join these games earliest are some of the most dominant players. And this game is starting to really take off, so the longer you wait, the more you miss out on. Not only can you support the channel by using the download link in the description of this video, or by scanning the QR code on your screen, but doing so will also give you a free $50 starter bonus with an epic hero, gems, and gold coins, all for free, just by using the link or QR code provided. And then when you start, you'll gain access to beginner events exclusively for players who use the link or QR code provided that will give you another strong epic hero, a set of 5-star legendary equipment, and a platinum scroll for another guaranteed epic or legendary hero. Lastly, I have created a bunch of videos in a Gemstone Legends playlist on my YouTube channel to make learning this game as easy and fun as possible. So hit that download link in the description and get started with one of the most fun and deep Match 3 RPGs. There is a great community in Gemstone Legends. It has some huge advantages over Empires and Puzzles. And overall, I think you guys are really going to like it. Okay, so since I knew I was going to be changing the artifacts around, I took a video of what things were before I started so I could have a reference point, and some significant improvements were made. And like I mentioned before, I think this is the opportunity for some lessons in equipment, or just increasing our understanding, because for me, this was increasing my understanding. So when I equipped him before, I was thinking, all right, I don't have the best equipment for him right now. I've just equipped some other crucial attackers for myself. So I think I'm going to try to add the Crusher set here, because that will give me plus 40% crit damage, which can make up for the deficits that I'm seeing in my equipment. So that was my thinking. Looking at him before, we had 4,200 attack, 2,500 defense, 2,800 HP. So those are pretty good numbers. If you're going to build a very strong attacker, you can't really expect to have more than mid 2,000s or mid 20,000s for defense and HP respectively. And then if we look over to crit rate and crit damage, so crit rate is much higher than it needs to be at 128. This is because I decided on the day I was equipping him that I was going to fully awaken him, which gives me 10% more crit rate. And I decided, okay, then I'm going to drop the crit rate down, try to offset it with crit damage, and increase the attack. So let's look at where his individual pieces were. We looked at, so you can see the bonuses here, 20% crit rate when fully awakened, which you might think, oh, I don't want crit rate, but that just empowers you to put different equipment. So if you don't have to boost his crit rate with equipment, that allows you to use other substats to prioritize other substats. So just gaining a boost to any stat lets you shift your equipment around and exemplify that boost anywhere you want. So hopefully that makes sense, because I think that's a really important thing. So then we're going to go through and look at these piece by piece. So first up, the weapon he had a nice boost to attack, decent boost to crit rate, so nothing exceptional, but definitely in line with what we want to see from him. Next, helmet, we had 19% crit damage, which is pretty good, a little bit of attack, a little bit of speed, and this was from the Hawkeye set that we were running to give us a boost to crit rate. So definitely trying to make two set bonuses work here. Next up, the shield, we were making up for a little bit of defense, tiny bit of crit rate, a little bit of crit damage, and a little bit of speed. Speed is not a high priority for attackers in my opinion, but it's good to have it in there if you can. So yeah, that little bit of defense was helping us. Then we had crit rate gloves with crit damage substat, which is pretty good. I've decided now that I don't like crit rate gloves. I want to get crit rate from the substats or from awakening, and I want the primary glove stat to be crit damage. I don't like attack gloves either. I want crit damage. I want the attacker to hit hard. Crit damage is really important for that. So I just sell all crit rate gloves and all attack gloves now. Even one with as nice a roll as this one had. Okay, then we had the armor, which was only 50% attack boost, so that 5-star versus 6-star difference. We got some HP from this, we got some defense from this. Not a stellar piece overall, but seemed like it was doing okay. And then we had 6-star attack boots, which is nice, with defense, HP, speed, and a little res. So this was giving a lot of survivability to him. But I just felt like for a hero that I use as much as I do, he wasn't that great. So I figured I could do better. So let's jump into the game now. I'll show you where he is, show you what I changed. We can look through the stats again and then share with you the lessons that I've learned. But they might become obvious to you as we're going through. But if not, I'll make sure to explain all of that. So let's jump into the game here. Okay, so here we have Finbor as he is now in the live game. So attack went up a little bit. Defense stayed about the same. HP dropped a little bit, which I'm ultimately okay with. Speed is over 230, which I'm okay with. It's not fantastic. But crit rate is 101, which is a key number that I'll explain in just a second. And crit damage is over 200, which is stellar. So, let's look at crit rate first. So when you're attacking another hero, if you have the color advantage, part of that attack is increased damage, and part of that attack is increased crit rate and accuracy. But in this case, accuracy doesn't affect him. So you're going to get 15% crit rate when attacking yellow, for example. So that means with 85% crit rate, you will crit 100% of the time against yellow enemies. With neutral enemies, you need 100% crit rate because you don't have that bonus. So that means for green, blue, and red, you need 100%. For attacking the color disadvantage, which for him is purple, you need 115% because you actually lose 15% crit rate. So with this number, what I've chosen is I want to crit on everything but purple all the time. Now, why would I leave out purple? Because getting the crit rate to be successful against purple means ultimately lowering the crit damage. And I feel like I'm going to bring Finbor when I'm up against some strong, scary yellow attackers. So that's the key for me. And I'm not as worried about how long it would take to finish off some purples. He's still going to hit pretty hard, and he's still only going to miss those critical hits 15% of the time against purple, so that, or 14% of the time, which is not too bad. So yeah, his attack could be higher, but from what we found in our guild and from crunching the numbers, crit damage is more significant. So you want to get your attack, I think the number we've been using is at least 3,500. Over 4,000 is even better, but like having 6,000 attack and only 120% crit damage, totally skewed the wrong way. You want to skew towards crit damage as long as your crit rate is... for PvP heroes, 100% to 115%. For raid boss heroes, you can get away with 85 because you're only using them in that color advantage context. So yeah, attack is in a good enough spot for me. Crit damage is phenomenal. So let's look at the individual pieces here, see what's going on, and then discuss what the lessons are. So the boots here were 6-star for gloves, armor, and boots, which is really important. Those are the percentage-based main stats, and you want them to be 6-star whenever you can because that's an extra boost on top of it. So if I had 5-star armor and boots, I'm losing out on 24% attack boost, which is huge. So you don't want to be missing out on that. So what do we have? We have attack boots, 6-star with crit rate. The accuracy is not really important, but the 18% crit rate is really good, and a little bit of speed. So not offering a whole lot there. The armor, we have 62% attack again, 7% crit rate, so a little bit, 14% crit damage, and a little bit more speed, so that's good. Here we have 6-star crit damage, which is 70%, a little bit of defense, a bunch more crit rate again. Again, accuracy doesn't matter. So not a lot of survivability in these pieces, but a lot of damage potential. And we're boosting that crit rate as much as we can. Next up for the shield, we have, again, more crit rate. And you can see if we're just at 101%, all these crit rate substats are necessary if you want to hit this number. So we have crit rate 10%, defense 12%, HP 6%. So we have all percentage substats here, which is great. We're gaining some survivability, and we're also adding 15% more crit damage. Helmet, a little bit of resistance, which is nice to have. A bunch of crit damage at 18%, defense 11%, and a little bit of attack. So all percentage substats again. And we're just boosting crit damage with this one. We don't need crit rate here because we had so much of it in other places. So again, 12% crit rate here. 16% attack, 17% crit damage. So you can see what these substats are aligned towards. That does mean that because he's purple, if I'm facing any yellow AoE attackers like Raphael primarily, he can't survive more than 1 or 2 hits. But I don't think increasing his defense and HP just a little bit more with these substats is going to matter. Everything is a trade-off here, so if you want more defense and HP, it's going to be at the expense of attack and crit damage, since you can't let it be at the expense of crit rate or you're just not capitalizing on the potential of the hero. Okay, so that's where we're at. The main lesson here is, look at the sets. I was using 2 set bonuses before, 2 really good set bonuses for an attacker, and his potential was wasted. I went with 0 set bonuses, and his potential skyrocketed. So please don't be OCD about it and want to get caught up in the set bonuses. I can sympathize with that feeling, but it's really not putting your best foot forward unless those are truly the best pieces. So yeah, if I could get those set bonuses on top of where I am now, if all of these pieces happen to be in those sets, that would be incredible, right? I could get rid of some more crit rate even because I'd be getting 15% from the Hawkeye set, and I'd be at almost 250% crit damage, which would be amazing. But that wasn't the case. So what I did was, in looking at the numbers, would sort through and say, okay, I really need a piece with 8% crit rate, for example, and it'd be nice if it had defense, HP, attack, or crit damage. Let me see what I have. Okay, this one has 6. Now that's not going to be enough. This one has 7. I'd rather not have the 1% chance of missing, even though that's a small chance. This one has 9. Okay, 9 is fine. We'll be at 101% crit rate. And it has crit damage and defense. So that feels pretty good. So that's kind of the way I piece these things together, starting out with what are my best 6-star attack pieces for armor and boots, what are the best crit damage gloves that I have, and then finding a weapon, helmet, and armor to fill in the gaps of where I'm trying to get and what I have. So the Awakening made a big impact here because that gave me 20% more crit rate. So if you didn't have that Awakening, you'd have to get that somewhere else from your substats, which gets harder to do. But yeah, this was a huge learning experience for me because this guy's nice, right? This is really well built. He's a bit on the squishy side, but he is a strong attacker. And with his passive of doing 6% more damage for each positive status affecting the enemy and 35% more damage to enemies above 50%, you want to build him as a strong attacker, in my personal opinion. If anyone has a compelling argument for why you should prioritize defense and health more on a hero like this, I'm definitely open to hearing that. But yeah, this is where I'm at with this. This for me was like, wow. I thought he would definitely be better with the set bonuses, but in completely ditching them, like I said before, his potential went up dramatically, and he is a lot more capable as an attacker now. I lost some crit rate against purple, but I'm okay with that. So, yeah, I thought this was a valuable demonstration or kind of showing the before and after because the results of this makeover are significant. So hopefully that is helpful to see. I've seen a lot of people really clinging on to set bonuses, really trying to force the set bonuses over the pieces that are actually better. And the set bonuses are the icing on the cake, right? If you're going to have a cake, you can't prioritize the icing over the cake itself, or it's not going to be a good cake experience, right? It's a cake after all. The icing can make it better, but you need to have good cake to start. And that's the same thing here. If the pieces that you're using in those sets aren't the optimal pieces, then you're making the wrong choice because you're prioritizing a smaller bonus, like 15% crit rate for the Hawkeye set, when you could easily have a shield that has 18% crit rate and attack and defense and HP, for example, which is a far better choice. So let me know your thoughts on this stuff in the comments down below. If you're wondering in general, for attackers, I tend to not work with set bonuses at all unless the pieces in those sets are good enough that I would choose them regardless of the set that they're in. For support heroes, that's not the case. For most supports, you want them to be very fast, so a swift set is almost mandatory these days for heroes like Strybog, Aurora, Sigil, heroes like that. They're going to keep your attackers alive. Martin or Alexander or Najar, any taunt hero that can really help keep your team alive. Speed is really important for them, so that's kind of like prioritizing the attack power of an attacker. So that's a case where you do need to make the set bonus work, and sometimes you do have to forego some defense and HP substats in favor of getting that speed up to a level where you can actually compete with some of these teams. So yeah, share your thoughts in the comments. I think that's as much as I want to say about this. Please hit that like button and subscribe. Stay tuned for the contest on December 6th. And if you've watched this video and you're curious about Gemstone Legends, in the description of this video, you can find some download links, whether you're on Android or iOS. Install with that link, not from the App Store, because you will get a bonus as a new player. So make sure you don't forfeit that big bonus because it gives you a good head start in joining the game. So thank you guys so much for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments down below, and I will see you all in the next video.